Last video, we went over this assignment for critical thinking malinformation. Now, I showed you an example of a politician making a statement and questioning that. This time I want to show something a little bit different. I know I'm tempted to check into whether or not Beyonce had face work done, but that's really not collegial learning. However, doesn't mean we can't look at something kind of interesting. So I decided to go with something that I found just randomly while I was looking at things that interest me on the website. Aren't too many things I love quite as much as I love Chanel. I have a lot of it. Most of the people I know have a lot of it. Well, you know what, y'all? Many years ago, I had a friend bought a Chanel purse, paid $10,000 for it, which was a lot and a lot of money at the time. It was a pretty purse, don't get me wrong. But I always wondered about that. You know, she had the little authenticity card and she had all this stuff that came with it. And then somebody, when we were out and about, said, I think that's a fake. And my friend spent years in court trying to see if that was a fake or not. By the time she paid for legal fees and all that stuff, she had already paid for that purse another time over. It still interests me. The idea of fake jewelry and fake handbags. I don't know. I just find it kind of interesting. So look what I found. Looked at that, and I know it's a little bit dated, but I don't care. Chanel claims real, real. What is the real, real? I have no idea. So now I'm interested. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and see what this whole thing was about. And I see that there were court documents. And so now I'm going to take a look at this lawsuit. Of course, I'm going to create my citation list on EasyBib so that all of my research can go into that. Here's the lawsuit, these little class action suit, and it was amended. I look down here at the bottom to find out because it started in 2018, but I scroll down here to the bottom and I see that it was amended April 30th, 2021. Now I want to just look into this and see what it is that they are saying. And they're saying that, let's go look at our little document. Number one, and remember, you need to watch that first video so that you know the assignment and so forth. This is just an example. So here's what that suit says. It says that the vast majority of the items supposedly authenticated by the company were actually reviewed only by the company's copywriters. And there is that link to the lawsuit. Here's the link to that website, which I'd never seen before in my whole life. But that's what I'm going to be looking at. Zoom over here to the website, check it out a little bit. I'm not going to sign up for anything, but I just kind of want to see what this website's all about. They're selling all kinds of merchandise. Man, it's just changing every second. Catch people's eye. So it makes me wonder, how do you know? I mean, how can they make a claim that it's real or fake? And maybe these people in this lawsuit are correct that they just have people saying, yeah, it's real. So let's check this out. From watching the first video that each time I go to one of these websites, I'm going to add them to my EasyBib project. And so by now I have done my initial research and I've added those to my little project. So you can see, and you know the process of doing that because you watched the first one. But let's take a look at this. So I'm just like, how do you know if the authentication card is real or fake? A friend had an authentication card just like this one. And I look at it and it makes me wonder. It says, we certify the authenticity of this item. Who are we? You've seen me say that in enough of the papers that you've written. Who are we? Who are they? It doesn't say Chanel Incorporated or so-and-so on behalf of Chanel, or it just says we. Now, my friend's card had the whole thing in other languages. It had all kinds of characters on it. And over here, my friend's card had a little website. It was just like Chanel Valid. I don't even know what it was. But she copied her number, clicked on that email address or the website. It said authenticate your bag and whatever. And she did all that. So Anyway, it gives me pause. So that just makes me have questions. I'm not making any conclusions about it, but I don't know that you could really use this as a definitive way to tell if it's a fake or not. Over to here to look at this authenticating bag website, and there's nothing here that can't be duplicated. Anybody can get this leather. It's not this precious. It's lambskin leather, which could be anybody could find that. I'm looking at this with a critical eye. The quilting, anybody can do good quilting. It's just a matter of a machine. These aren't done by hand. Count the stitching. I can create stitching that has that same number. The CC lock, my gosh, you can get those at the dime store, and they look just like the real thing. And the same thing with the back of the lock, these little screws. These screws are not precious. You can find these screws anywhere. The brand, anybody can make that embossing. Authenticity card, we've already gone through that. I need to go through that again. So, and the chain on the straps. So, my point is that I'm going to make, and I'm all through with my research now. So I'm just going to check out my site. I know that it just leaves me with more questions than it answers. The last thing I'm going to do is see how this lawsuit between Chanel and Real, how did it end? Started in 2018, and here's the judge's order of 2023, which was easy to find. I just typed into Google, how did that case end? And it came up with this right away. And nothing was happening. It was just sent to mediation. So I'm just going to add that to my EasyBib. I pasted the URL information in there, and it propagated this citation. So I'm all set with this. So now all I have to do is just export all. You have a choice. You can export this as a Word doc or as Google Doc. I'm going to do Word doc, but you can do whichever you like. And I'm going to export that. And then you'll see that that shows up down here in my list. And there it is. I'm going to enable editing up here and make sure it all looks good. Okay. I'll go ahead and keep those brackets in because that's how it was listed. Looks good. So I'm going to copy these. Go back over my little document that I'm creating. Come down here at the bottom. I still haven't done number 3 yet. I'm working on it. There's my works cited. And I'm going to say, having researched this case and studied the Real website, I see an issue with the ability to claim authenticity at all. In 2023, forgers are so skilled at creating fake product that they can easily find lambskin. Excellent quilters create duplicate handbag clasps and straps. The authenticity cards include a serial number that can easily be forged. My friend's bag had a card serial number and link to validate the authenticity of the bag. All that checked out. Later, she learned that the link was also fake. Now, I'm all done, and I'm going to go up here. Most important thing, because I've made notes, I've done all kinds of things. I'm going to select all, Times New Roman, 12 font, review, my word count, 335. There we go. I don't like this. I'm going to make sure that these are the same colors, just because you know it's me. Make sure that those are all the same color. Now I also have to check, once I make this into a PDF, which is my next step, I need to make sure that all these links work. So I need to save it as a PDF and then open it and then make sure that all those links work. Now that looks real nice, doesn't it? Uh-oh. Helps if I punctuate the first letter of the sentence. Okay. I've already done a link to the Real website up here. Do you know how to do this? You probably do. You just highlight the words that you want to highlight, and then you right click it. You right click it, and then you add the hyperlink by doing a link. And that way you don't have a long URL, like you can just click that and get straight to that little website. Okay, there you go. And that is an example of doing something a little bit fun for to check out something to see if it sparks my interest, if I'm curious, if it makes me have more questions than it does answers.